I really struggle against OOTD, and
Really?
it's just because of judging. And I think a lot of people may understand that feeling where you see an OOTD army and you're like, look at my army, it's massive. And then you look at the 5 units in front of you and all of a sudden everything is dead, but mostly yours. So that is the problem with OETD. And I think this is something that Kiljardi is used to. He knows how to judge those fights because he's an aggressive player. He's used to these types of matchups. And we are in. These Finnish boys looking like they want to finish the series.
It might be a finish fast here. Kiljardi with the Order of the Dragon. Themos with the Jeanne pick. Jeanne that we've been speculating where the value can be. Is it going to have to be the late game? Can you even get to the late game? I think what's going to matter most is what these openers are going to be, because Order of the Dragon is an interesting civ, right? They get a lot of value out of the independent units, but when they make a choice, they're locked in. So the question mark is, can Themos get the correct read on the early unit choices and get ahead of the curve? Because we usually see Order of the Dragon for players fall apart when their initial unit is countered.
The thing is, I can see from Kiljardi as well, he instantly opened with a farm, which I haven't seen yet, but that might just be, it's been a thing.
Anatan has been cooking with it for a long time, especially. So this will probably be an Arkin build as well. It just feels really efficient if you think about it. Like, your villagers work through sheep really fast anyway. Like, in the early game, like, your eco is really, really solid. But then, by having that farm, if you think about it, compared to other civs, that one farm you've invested in is 28% more efficient. Right? Because they gather quicker. So it's an interesting idea. I quite like it. I've seen Anatan make it work quite well. I think Kiljardi's been of the same mind. I've seen him practice a bit. I've got a feeling this game, by the way, is going to be Kiljardi just rushing castle.
Oh, definitely. He does not want to play against Jeanne and H2 constantly just getting experience. And the thing is, Order of the Dragon has that choice. I love this farm opening. I'm so glad Anatan invented it. I'm a huge Anatan fan. I know if Anatan cooks something, we trust in Anatan. Anatan knows what's best, ladies and gentlemen. If you see Anatan doing something, investigate.
The Anna way, baby. And an interesting detail, if this is a fast castle from Kiljardi, look at where his gold is. It's fort spawning. So, like, that might be punishable for Themos. I think, also, if you're anticipating it's going to be a fast castle build, Ranger makes even more sense.
Yes, and also just making sure that you get that Scud of Cavalry up as soon as possible, because you need to get that knight out. You need to get on top of that gold, and you need to go punish. But let's just make sure and see if he's going to be able to get that first knight out by making that macro perfect. We saw last game, his macro was not ready for the longbows that he wanted to push out. But I feel like he may have learned from this. He has to learn from this, just to make sure that he's ready to, you know, put out that knight on top of the other opponent. Because once it's there, we are going to have big destruction.
And what I'd love to see, actually, I thought Themos might do it at the start of this game, he didn't. When you're playing against a civ that you inherently expect to be defensive, a really big edge you have is Jeanne, French, like these civs that are the aggro player, go on your deers, right? Like, this is actually fairly close by. He is at least prepping wheelbarrow now, but looks like he has a mill being dropped. So maybe we'll see him quickly shift out. But I'm always a big believer that if you are the aggressive party, why are you sitting at home on berries and sheep, right? The deer, the boar. These are the exploit points that civs like Mongols, French, and Jeanne use to end games quickly. And I think that's really what Themos should be aiming for here.
And the thing is, Themos has a pretty good deer spawn as well. You can see that could be protected by a very tiny wall. So this is not a bad position for him at all to just constantly pump out knights. What we do see is about to age up, and he's nowhere close to having enough for a knight. He's macroing more onto food, so maybe just getting that on time. Oh my!
He got wheelbarrow, that's why. So like he actually staved his timing slightly. He might be only a few seconds late, right? He's got 4 people working on it. It's not a good feeling, right? Like once again, if you go wheelbarrow, you need to be shifting to the deer immediately to justify it here. Meanwhile, Kiljardi on the other side also has wheelbarrow being prepped, as you'd expect, to run away from the knights. And I'm wondering, so he's not going to go for the outpost defense. It's going to be the racks.
And this is so important because, yes, you do get this tower, right? But Themos is just going to force you to constantly stay inside your tower, and you're never going to get enough gold to go for your fast castle. In this case, I would say medium castle. So now, getting that one spearman out there, it's very tanky. It will live a long life, but it's also going to stop that knight from clapping cheeks. And Kiljardi knows that he's good at controlling his spears against Themos' knights. So I think he's using that in his performance to make these good decisions.
I wonder if Kiljardi might benefit from doing the palisade wall defense on the gold. So like a few players like Dragovan especially have been doing this a lot. But the logic here is what you do is you basically start a wall and then end up beyond the gold. and then you cancel the sides, and you only build the center right next, so it chains between the gold and the mining camp, so they can't run in. Why it's a big deal here is if you do that, you don't need as many spears. One of the big issues with the Dragon is you get Benny healed a lot because you don't have many troops. So if you just strong wall one side, you can just camp your Gilded Spear on the other. It means the Knights can do literally no damage there, and you can then send a second spear to defend your wood line instead of camping one on each side of the gold.
Well, he has made a decision. He's like, I will just wall this off and put my spearmen there because I want to impale his horses. But Archer Jeanne is coming. She's ready. She wants to go fight. And while Archer Jeanne is good, she takes a lot of shots to actually kill a spearman, and especially in Order of the Dragon spearman. We know Order of the Dent being a very tanky civilization with units that do take a bit of a punch. This knight looking at finding some damage, but not closing in on that wood line. He's hunkering a little bit closer to the gold.
Themos needs to get an archer transition prep. I've seen this play out, and it's very interesting. Jeanne can actually win this matchup with this play, but the whole idea is you need to prep archer to counter now. And also, the logic is you just want to outnumber the Gilded Spearmen. Because here's the interesting thing, right? If you have more knights than spears, the spears actually get killed. Because the logic is that when you brace, you stun on both sides. But let's say I have 4 knights and you have 3 spears. So 3 units on each side are stunned. 1 unit is attacking while the others cannot. So like, that's the interesting thing that Themos can do here, is if he bloats to overwhelm. Right now, though, Kiljardi's already prepping, right? We've got Horsemen being prepped behind this. I don't think he's revealed it yet. It's going to come out straight away on Jeanne, and this is huge. Look at that damage.
Oh. And this is the problem of Horsemen with Order of the Dragon. They're expensive, but they pack as hard as a knight. And they are unfortunately just going to make this game so difficult for him to take. Wow. Jeanne goes down, and I feel like, yes, we can see some action back there on the gold, but the Spearman will push them back off. But now that one singular Horseman just changed the game completely. He's got another one. So...
Well, he didn't even get an eco kill with that raid to block out the outpost, right? Like, can we check, did Kiljardi get textiles? Because I sometimes feel like that is underrated for Order of the Dragon. No textiles. But remember, even without that, the cool thing here is any normal civ, those knights kill in 2 hits. Because it's 50 damage, right? You get the charge and you get the buff damage. You can't do that against Order of the Dragons. They actually get a lot more agency with being greedy with when they pull villagers away.
And we can see those horsemen are just kind of scolding the knights, say, hey guys, we are made of gold. Yeah. You guys can go back to your base, thanks.
This is wild though. Like, you see that, right? I don't know if that's a misclick or intentional. And men-at-arms now being added in by Kiljardi against knights.
I don't think that's a misclick. Men-at-arms, they survive, right?
Yeah.
But he knows Themos doesn't like blacksmith upgrades too early. So if he just goes in, I think he can punish this quite well. And also remember, men-at-arms are very survivable. So once they're out on the map and onto the food sources, you're not going to allow your opponent to get a lot of food that you need as Jeanne. Jeanne is so hungry and he's pumping out knights non-stop.
The interesting part is, like, you're building men-at-arms against knights though, right? Like, that's kind of the curious part. These horsemen are just better value, as you're seeing, right? You just get in your raid and remember, 15 base damage in these horsemen. 4 strikes is all you need to kill a villager. And Themos, as expected, went to play greed in the flank. Unfortunately, done it so late that he got punished for it.
And that's exactly what you're expecting to see from French. Any French variant civ.
What? Oh, misclick panic. The wall completed, so he walked back around by mistake. Kiljardi gives over 48 XP.
And now that actually is quite even for unit loss, but keep in mind, he lost 2 villagers. So 2 villager loss, very, very big at this point of the game, especially for Jeanne. She's already struggling for food. We can see 330 food per minute. Those villagers were pulled off. And Order of the Dragon, another horseman in the queue.
And keep in mind, like, Themos, you know, Kiljardi is the right call because he's got an advantage already. But, like, realistically, if he was allowed to go castle, you take it, right? You always take it as Dragon. Themos is put in a sticky position because it means he has to keep being aggressive. He can never just, like, sit back, chill, take count of his stock. He has to keep sending it. And that gives an inherent defender's advantage across the Kiljardi.
Yeah, but he also got his tower up now. So that gold is no longer in danger. He could make some sneaky plays around that, especially knowing that his micro is very, very good. Now, I know he's a man who can react very quickly, and with his unit composition right now, 6 spearmen, he's not even going to worry about this little bit. Jeanne is walking in under this tower, trying to snipe a little village or two. We do get a little bit of damage done. these horses are scary, but it doesn't look like Kiljardi wants to fight just yet.
No, like diving 4 horsemen in there, you just lose them, right? And you don't kill Jeanne. Like maybe you kill her, but to lose 1,000 resources is not worth it. So good patience from Kiljardi, just accepts the hit to the chin. And keeps on going with his swagger. Meanwhile, Themos, look at what we've got coming in. I don't think he's stockpiling resources. It looks like he's seriously considering going castle.
Going castle and getting another scout, which is a very good idea. We can see losing that scout. I respect a man who can make a scout. It's like an admission of like, I may have lost that by accident. I'm going to get another one. So at least keeping his vision on, going for castle, this is so important because he needs to know what his opponent is cooking. He needs to be able to react against that in the moment. So Themos stopping that knight production, I'm excited to see what he ages up with. Because depending on what he ages up with, we know what this game's going to be like. If this is a guild hall, we're going to look at a longer game, but I don't expect a guild hall.
I think he's got a decent amount of knights. Raw Institute's kind of curious because with raw bloodlines, like you can fight gilded spearmen. But the problem is it's so expensive to get compared to getting like, what, 2 to 3 extra knights for the same cost. So a little bit of a funky one here, man. I feel like he's going to go Raw Institute because the pressure's going to come in too fast otherwise. But in an ideal world, you have Guild Hall here for the scalability.
The thing is, those horsemen just offset that completely. So if he went for Guild Hall anyway, he doesn't have enough gold for upgrades. So this is, and he's just pushing these villagers off. He might even get another kill.
He's going to grab one here. The villagers haven't even moved through yet. Themos, a little bit slippery, but also a little bit slow. Does actually get out in the end. Knights are now reacting, but remember, if you tech up now, like Kiljardi's in your face, right? In a choke point, these horsemen won't immediately just melt to the knights.
Jeanne is trying to stay in range to just get a little bit of experience. They are looking to take this fight, but I don't think this is the fight Kiljardi wants to take. That is a lot of experience going over to Jeanne. And now the horses are blocked in. That's a lot of resources. And you can see Kiljardi, he doesn't have that food to replace these anytime soon, but he did some damage to the villagers. And his farm transition is looking good.
I'm trying to figure out like what Kiljardi is focused on, because that definitely looked like he lost track of the horsemen. They weren't meant to engage. Like, there's no way you'd ever want to send 4 horsemen, or 3 horsemen rather, into like 9 knights, right? But
Guild Hall. I was wrong. He is looking for the late game. He doesn't want those royal bloodlines. Maybe it's because
it's too expensive, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, realistically, you're going to have to pay so much just to try and fight gilded spearmen. It's like a very dented way of taking it. But this makes a bit more sense, right? We know Order of the Dragon don't like the hyper late game, and let's be totally real, Jeanne and French do. Despite these Civs being really underwhelming right now, performing poorly, they are still kings of the Imperial Age, courtesy of just how damn good Arbitrier are.
They might be good at that, but Kiljardi has 3-minute arms. He's got upgrades. He doesn't care that he's going to be playing against a cash later player.
I mean, he's almost there himself, right? Like, that's kind of the crazy thing. Just when you stop building, like this is the weird thing about Order of the Dragon. When you just stop building units, it's crazy how quickly you build a reserve, right? Like, they are very good villagers. Arc can buff them further. It's just always deceptive, because if they add 1 or 2 units in, like he just, like 4 units, look at what it done to his economy. It just all disappears.
And now we can see with this economy, the farm's set up already. The Knights do idle them a little bit, but he's idling himself. We can see both of these players just idling their villagers, running away, because he's pushed him off of that food again, because Jeanne is just so susceptible to those harassing, oof.
Yeah, this is like a weird one, right? Where, like, Kiljardi technically could have been dove there, but Themos hesitated. Like, here's the thing. Kiljardi has to have the spearmen here to defend the men-at-arms. Because the Knights are here, he loses men-at-arms, and it's expensive as hell, right? It's 240 per. It's like, weirdly enough, Kiljardi's in a position where he can start to kind of hamstring Themos a bit, and I wonder if that should have even happened. It's kind of crazy. Obviously, we have God Vision here, but Themos did rebuild the scout. He should have seen there was no defense there when he went in.
The thing is now, you can see he has no food. There's none. There's nothing he can eat from it. He's snacking on a few berries just to stay alive. But there's no other food source that he can go on without getting raided, because Kiljardi is just everywhere. And I mean, that deer pack was almost depleted as well. They've got some food at the bottom, but I don't think Kiljardi's
Can we check Kiljardi's vision, actually? I'm curious if he sees the deer and the berries. Okay, yeah, smart boy. He scouted everything, so he knows. And also, keep in mind, like, the deer on the right side haven't been killed yet, right? So Kiljardi's probably checking for that. He's looking and seeing, okay, have any of the deer been dropped yet? Because the moment he sees one, he knows Themos is there.
He doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon, and with the Cathedral coming out, he just needs to pick up 1 or 2 relics, push to win. He's also got enough gold for upgrades, so if he just hits Castle, gets the upgrade instantly. Oh,
Yeah.
what is that beautiful noise? Is that a relic?
I believe that is relics coming, because Themos, you said he hasn't got food, but he has got plenty of gold, so he can at least try to get more gold. I don't know if that solves the big grand scheme issue, but what we're going to see here is Gilded Crossbowman now. Gilded Crossbowman that can solve for pretty much everything Themos is currently doing.
Yeah, when you have crossbowmen as Order of the Dent, they they tear through everything.
6 tower range, baby. Pew pew.
Ooh, and with 10 knights, they're great, right? But I would rather have a few of those Order of the Dragon horsemen in my army.
Yeah, it's like, it's weird as well, right? We talk about how Arbitrary are OP and like things like Gambesons are really good, but like against Gilded Spearmen, it doesn't feel that great, right? Like, if you took Kiljardi's horsemen away, right? And let's say he had 2 Arbitrary and 11 spears. I'd favor him in these fights. It's scary as all hell for Themos. All going to come out, Kiljardi, just kind of actually corralling his opponent around. The sheepdog here. And Themos will not be able to do anything about that relic. So first relic already on the way home for Kiljardi. Remember, it's a big deal getting this early, considering the dragon cannot build prelates before they hit the castle age.
Now, what he did do, Themos is trying to deny some relics. I think this is where his attention is focused right now. He's just saying, okay, I just need to stop Kiljardi from getting all the gold. And it's a smart move, right? Oh, Jeanne and her crossbows are waiting, but I don't think...
That's death, right? Like, because you can't turn around now. So if the horseman touch, just for a moment, Joe's going to go down. He front lines with the Arbitrary. Mistakes being made there. Monk gets found as well. And all of a sudden, you're just knights against mass spears.
And it's not just mass spears, those are Gilded Horsemen as well. And they're really just doing so amazingly against these knights. They're upgraded. We just don't have Themos in the driving seat.
I think that's it. Like, you know, he's even chill about it. Kiljardi knows this one is in the bag. Wallow's going to come around the back here. Themos able to temporarily push him away, but you've got nothing in the chamber after this. The Spearman can pretty much insta-hit these knights down. This is going to be game, and this is going to be set. Kiljardi going to make it a clean 3-0 for the victory.
And just like that, Finland takes the win.
So unexpected.
Whoa!
I can't believe it. Finland in the run. They stay alive in the upper bracket.
We called it. We're just amazing. Knowing Finland takes this first victory, I know, guys. Amazing.
Yeah, and I think, you know, well played to Kiljardi. I kind of liked Themos' draft. I think he had some really cool options in there. It just felt like the maps weren't truly appropriate for it. He didn't have things like, you know, Holy Island coming out. But just well structured by Kiljardi all around. He didn't press too offensive. I think the interesting thing is, I don't know if Kiljardi's trying to throw people off, but this is a guy that usually just takes everything and sends it into your base. But he didn't do that this series.